Almost 25 years ago, I walked into Parkway Music in upstate New York, and I knew I was ready to purchase my first real guitar. It's a special moment for me, and this is the one, despite having a little bit more money on me to spend, I fell in love with immediately. It's a 1982 Fender Japan JV Stratocaster, and at the time, it was really inexpensive because there wasn't this big Fender Japan cult following as of yet, and I ended up on the lucky side of things. Throughout the years, I've used it on multiple studio sessions. It was the first guitar I ever performed live with, and it's just something that I could never, ever imagine being without. So when I decided I was going to sit and do long-term reviews of some of these instruments, I knew this would be one, but I wasn't quite sure how to do it without being biased. But as I normally do, I'm going to give it my best shot. When Fender Japan introduced the JV line of guitars, there were three different tiers for the Stratocasters, the ST62 and the ST57, both based on iconic years for the brand. This is an ST57-65. You can tell if it still has the sticker, it will say 65, 85, which is the middle priced option, and 115 for the highest tier with a full nitrocellulose finish and American components from top to bottom. Those are exceptionally rare and they're really expensive on top of that these days because of all the hype around them. With that being said, this guitar originally had a set of Fender USA red bobbin pickups, and me being the idiot I was, maybe 20 years ago, I ripped them out because the venues I was playing at were too noisy, and trying to scrounge up money and not having a high-paying job at the time, I ended up selling them, and that was a huge mistake. However, the rest of it pretty much remained the same, and to this day is the same, minus one other thing that I changed on the guitar, and that was the bridge. I still have the original bridge, but I love the way that the Callahan works and the way that it feels, so it's just a preference thing. If I ever wanted to go back to stock, I could. From far away, you might think that this is awesome as far as the condition-wise, and considering its age, being from 1982, I'd say it is in really good shape, but when you get closer up, even though it is a poly finish, it has aged quite some bit. We look at the borderings of the body, you can see some kind of discoloring going on. It's got cracks, it's got dings. This thing has seen a lot in its day, and it's seen a lot of the country, and it just kind of happens. So if you're somebody who has a poly guitar and you think, oh, it's never going to age the same way as nitro, no, it won't. But it will age in its own way, and honestly, it has aged pretty gracefully in my opinion. the last 20 years, this guitar has had a few different sets of pickups installed into it, but as of right now, it has a full-on pickguard from an actual Fender custom shop Stratocaster that was disassembled, hand-wound 1969 reissue pickups, and it has a tone control for the bridge pickup, which I believe is vital on a Stratocaster if you're using traditional style pickups and you want to take some of the ice pick off without sacrificing some of the clarity and high end that the amp would require to dial in the neck pickup the way that I and many others do like it. However, there's one thing about this guitar that separates it from every single other Stratocaster or Stratocaster style instrument that I've ever played in my life, and why this is forever going to be a keeper guitar outside of sentimental reasons, and that is the neck itself. It does have the vintage radius on it, and learning to play for real on the 7¼ inch radius with the smaller fret wire was a little bit tougher than it may have been had I wanted to use something a bit more modern, but I'm happy I did it that way because I feel like it's made me a better player for it. And when I do switch to a more modern guitar, it's a lot simpler than going on to something that's more vintage spec. But fighting against this guitar, fighting with it rather, and getting the best out of it is a really rewarding experience. The shape of this and the way that it feels is second to absolutely none. It's better than even the Momose neck that's on the Jaguar. There's just something about this specific neck, and on paper, I wouldn't really say that this is up my alley. It's on the thinner side of things. I think it's 0.82 at the 1st fret and 0.90 at the 12th fret, but just the shape of it and the feel, it is to die for. If you ever have the opportunity to try one of these older JVs in person, I would definitely recommend it because, like me, you might be surprised. I realized that for people that are pretty familiar with this YouTube channel, I'm not really associated with Stratocasters. It's either a Jazzmaster, a Jaguar, or a Telecaster for the most part. But when it comes time to record, one thing hasn't changed over the last 20 years, and that is this guitar is always with me, and it always finds a way onto a track. And I thought, what better way than to show you a small little lead part that this guitar made it onto for a record I did with my friend Dave. In case you're wondering why I wasn't actually playing during that was really tracked in a recording studio, and I didn't want to do that awkward YouTube thing where I just kind of mime and pretend that I'm playing along with it. That's just kind of weird, so we just went with a different option on that. But the point stands. This guitar cuts through in a mix like nobody's business, and I'm not the first one to discover that. Think of all the players from iconic bands and memorable records that have used Stratocasters both as lead and rhythm guitars. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why there are so many brands that have their own version, but the key elements remain the same. I love this guitar. This guitar has served me so well over the last quarter of a century. That is insane to say that. I really am getting old, and I wouldn't sell this thing for the whole world. I love it, and again, I would recommend if you ever get the chance to play one of these old Fender JVs, give it a shot. Even the Squier ones, they're pretty damn good guitars. Thank you for watching today's video. I know it's hard for me to be objective, so I just went with what my heart was telling me to go with. I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, do the YouTube stuff. It helps me out. Like and comment and subscribe. Let me know in that comment section. This is actually good. What was your first real guitar? When did you buy it? What was it? And most importantly, do you still have it, or did you make a mistake and sell it? Look forward to seeing what you guys say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.